What is going on, Guardians? J-Man here, and today we're talking about the best armor stats and mods for the Crucible. We've had a couple of weeks to learn about the updated mod system for PvE while prepping for the day 1 raid race, and now that Trials and Iron Banner are back with some of the game's most desirable weapons, it's time to make sure our loadouts are optimal for taking down enemy Guardians. Starting with the stat distribution, in my opinion, the best order of priority should be recovery, followed by your class ability stat, onto discipline or strength depending on your loadout, then resilience, and finally intellect. Recovery at the top might sound odd, but there is nothing more important than healing as quickly as possible to get right back into the battle. The longer you're waiting to regen health, the longer you cannot support your team. Class abilities are the next most important because they simply do so much. Dodge, Rift, Barricade. You got your exotics enhancing those like Wormhusk, and then mods like Distribution, Bomber. Just so much happens when you pop a class ability, which is why it's important to prioritize. And Warlocks get to reap the benefit here with their class ability Regen pairing with Recov. We all know ability spam is key to Destiny, which is why Discipline or Strength is the next most important. If you're going for something like Trip Mines and Ahamkaras, spike that Discipline up. Or maybe you're looking for shoulder charges and Peregrines, so focus on Strength. Now, some of you might disagree with me for having Resil solo on the list, and to be clear, it is important. But unless you're a Titan, I don't see the need to max out Resilience. The flinch resistance is great, and we'll talk about mods next, but you can always slap on some unflinching mods to make up the difference. And as far as the damage resistance, it starts to lose its value at the upper tiers, and can really only save you from rare situations like a Thornburn. So if you're a Titan, absolutely invest in Resil, but my Hunters and Warlocks can settle at that sweet spot around 5. And then there's Intellect. It's a nice to have stat if you have some spare points, but it's not game changing. You can simply earn your super by outputting more damage, and the benefits from Intellect just don't seem worth the space. Now, the only one we did not directly touch on is mobility. Naturally, my Hunters want to go all in here, but Warlocks and Titans can literally ignore this stat. It really has no benefit to the point where it can honestly use a rework. So we have our stats, but what about our mods? What I want to do here is go armor piece by armor piece and talk about two different types of approaches. First, we'll have the sweaty 3v3 setups for Trials in the competitive division, looking at mods that improve the speed and handling of our weapons to gain an edge. And then we'll touch on the more laid-back, for fun 6v6 game modes like Quick Play and Iron Banner, going for a more build-crafting approach for those epic space magic moments. And before we dive in, we need to take what discounts the artifact is providing us into consideration. This season, Solar, Strand, and Void mods are all on sale thanks to the authorized mods. So it's beneficial to use weapons of these elements to stack the effects of the armor mods we're slotting. Now for the helmet, in 3s we're looking at targeting. Destiny is a second-to-second combat game, and any speed advantage over your opponent is massive. Targeting not only improves your ADS, but also your target acquisition and accuracy. Slap on an Immortal and double stack Strand targeting and watch this weapon get even nastier. Now in 6s you can swap out for a Siphon mod, but note that it's not as easy to get those multi-kills in the Crucible like it is in PvE. So you can go for something like Ashes to Assets or even Radiant Light or Powerful Friends if you're looking for an easy way to get some armor charges. Moving on to the gauntlets, for my competitive modes we're stacking up on handling. Too many folks look over the importance of faster ready and stow speed. It's the same concept as targeting. Any type of speed advantage is going to get you the win. Being able to pull out that shoddy or fusion or SMG faster is critical. If you are playing 6s, you could stick with the handling mods if you'd like, or if you're really trying to build into an ability, then you have things like bolstering detonation or focusing strike. For the chest piece, like we mentioned earlier, unflinching mods are your best bet for 3s. We put resilience low in the stat priority, so a bit of help from unflinching mods won't hurt. And to be honest, there's straight up nothing available for chest mods for 6s, reserves are pointless, and resist mods don't even work in PvP, so unless you really want to run charged up for something crazy, just stick with the unflinching. Now for the legs, in competitive modes, don't sleep on holster mods. It helps to not have to be wasting time reloading, but if you already have something to help out with your reload speed, then weapon surge is all the way. If you have a simple way to get an armor charge, then the surges can never hurt. You could put on an orb-based mod like Innervation. I personally would rather have weapon damage buffs if I'm picking up an orb, but feel free to mix and match. And this works in 6s as well. I would disregard the holster mods. 6s is all about shredding up Guardians for the clips, so weapon surges all the way. And that leaves us with the class item, and really competitive and casual modes work exactly the same. I actually like to throw on a Reaper mod. It's by far the easiest way to spawn an orb in PvP, so there's a better chance of getting yourself an armor charge. And depending on what ability you're focusing on, you also have Outreach, Bomber, or Distribution. I like to split mine up a bit to give more abilities some love, but just make sure you're synergizing with your build. Guardians, that will conclude our video for today. And if you learned something, please help me out with a like or sub to the channel. If you have any suggestions for what mods you think work best in PvP, definitely place those down in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the Cosmodrome.